Greetings. Welcome to a new episode of Art Matters with Wayne Quackenbush. I'm Wayne Quackenbush, your host. Today we have an artist who I've known for a number of years and who I didn't know until recently was very, very interested in being creative and sharing her artwork. We've had some conversations. This is Kimberly Smiley, and she lives in on Aquidneck Island, but you're not originally from here, right?
No, I'm an Air Force brat.
Okay, so you've lived...
Started in Hawaii, moved every 3 years. And this is the longest I've lived anywhere.
And how many places do you think you've lived in your life?
I would say 20.
20 places?
At least, yeah.
So literally every 3 years or so.
Mostly southern states, California though, Texas.
And what made you stick in Rhode Island?
The water. I kept moving closer and closer to the ocean.
Well, you can't get much closer to the ocean than Hawaii.
I know, but I was 3.
Okay.
I would love to go back. I joke around about that. Go back to the island.
Well, someday.
Someday. That is one of my dreams.
Yep.
Yes.
So you have had a lifelong interest in art.
I have.
And you were just saying years ago you had been pursuing it pretty avidly.
Yeah, I had several opportunities to. I was enrolled in art schools, like UMass, Amherst, and Boston School of Design. I didn't have the self-esteem to stick with it. I quit before I got started.
Sometimes you need to get seasoned a bit and have some experience to appreciate what you're absorbing, maybe.
Absolutely.
And
the process is a journey.
As I've said, we've known each other for a number of years, and just recently, like a couple months ago, you approached me, or I approached you through a friend to show your artwork and talk about your artwork on the show. Now, you said you've had a recent, well, let's call it a growth spurt.
Yes, a spurt.
Uh-huh.
That's exactly what I've had this year.
And what do you attribute that to?
A lot of time for reflection, and it's a way to express myself.
And it's also a way to be kind of meditative and to use your time.
Absolutely.
Because I would probably guess you've experienced some isolation.
Yes, on a daily basis.
Indeed, for almost a year now.
Yes.
Because everybody's been home a lot more than they're used to.
Yes, it's different when you're forced to be isolated.
Yes.
Than to, because I usually...
well, I've seen people react in different ways. I've seen people... What I've mostly seen is that people's... I hate to use the term because it's a psychological babble. Their true selves are revealed. Everybody has had to come to terms with what's on the end of their fork, so to speak.
Yes.
And a lot of people I know have taken the time to be creative, and a lot of people I know have taken the time to be angry.
We get to know ourselves.
Yes.
We're forced to get to know ourselves.
Yes. And you can probably start showing some of your work now. You have to hold it up to the camera.
Okay, I started doing some expressive things with watercolor pencils.
Okay.
Colors make me happy, shapes, and so I started with a couple of self-portraits. And
I'll hold that vertically so that Michael can have a look at it through the camera, and you can keep talking about...
So I love Impressionism and what do you call it? Precisionism. Modern art. So something that evokes a feeling. So I might be feeling something. I don't do a piece all at once. I keep coming back to it because I might be feeling something at a different moment when I'm looking at it. So they kind of grow. from a line. And so, you know, this is showing me a little closed up, but I've got the growth on the outside. So there's hope in this picture.
So do you start with an idea, or do you just let the pencils kind of take you where it's going to go?
I have an inkling, a feeling, an emotion. The colors of the pencils I get drawn to. Then it's the weight of the lines that I start out making. For instance, I start with just movement.
You can show this one while you're talking about it if you'd like. This is a work in progress.
Yeah, so I used organic images that come out of my mind usually, from nature, and then I incorporate body parts in there with color and motion. I love dance. I'm not a dancer, but I love the free-flowing movement. Like if I make this kind of movement, I can see the line continuing.
And it's a movement that is captured, and you also the act of making a piece of artwork is a performance too. Even if it's not musical, you have to be bold and take a stand and make your mark. And,
yes.
And I don't see you. You're tentative, but you're not hesitant, if you know what I mean.
I can imagine myself working larger in the future.
Oh, you want to bring that down and bring something else?
So that I'm going to end up taking more space.
That would look good as a wall.
Right.
You could take over a whole wall.
I love this one because it's one of my favorites.
Well, that's one of your newest too, so you're
yes.
making a lot of progress.
So this is also from a self-portrait. It's a little... it's hard for me to talk about trauma that I've experienced, so that's another thing that started me doing this. It was recommended I try to express my memory through drawing. Mm-hmm.
So it's more than impressionist or even precisionist, it's expressionist too. You're
a little bit of
portraying
everything.
an emotion, and you're kind of letting stuff out in a controlled way.
I love Frida Kahlo.
Okay, I was going to ask you what about your influences.
Frida
was
Georgia O'Keeffe.
Always about her trauma. Frida had a lot of trauma, a lot of different kinds of trauma in her life.
She's amazing, and I love the colors. Mm-hmm. Just so vibrant.
And Georgia O'Keeffe was very much attracted to the organic.
Yes, and there was a little pseudo-erotic expression in there.
She was very attracted to the feminine form, let's just put it that way.
Yeah. I do put some of that in mine.
Yeah, indeed. There's nothing wrong with that.
Let's see. Who else was it? I like Klimt. This isn't Klimt, but
no, but you showed me that, I saw Picasso.
I love Picasso. I love being able to see there's a lot of movement with a lot of lines. Show that to Michael
so he can see what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yet, I started with imagining two people sitting together, and then I love the twisting of the form. It's not...
But you're also reducing the form to kind of a geometry.
Yes.
And color.
And then
shape.
Playing with the colors.
Absolutely.
I like to make things that are one color, green. Mm-hmm. I'll make them purple instead of green. And then play with the whole picture from there.
That gives you a whole new palette.
This is
Show him.
I do. I was a massage therapist for a while.
Okay, so you've had
I haven't been practicing, but I am fascinated by the human shape and form, and I don't know, I see beauty in everything.
Yeah, and it's really difficult for a lot of artists to draw feet. and you just kind of go right in
I love
there.
feet.
Yeah, feet are great.
I love to rub
Feet are the hands at the bottom of your legs.
Yes. Every nerve goes through your feet.
Right.
And then I did go through a little acorn phase.
Yep.
I love the shape of them and the bulbousness of them, and then I just kept drawing the acorns, and big ones, small ones, and that started a little series for
acorns
me.
in groups.
Yes, groups, one-on-one, and again, see how I played with the color. You might not, we're not going to see this when you're walking down the street.
Right.
And I do like simplistic things too.
Well, that's also very geometric.
Yes, it is.
Are
You know,
you-
my father was an architect. Maybe I
okay.
get some of that.
All right, so
From
you're
him.
giving us a gradual reveal as we talk.
Gradual.
Yeah.
That's the only way I know how.
Yep.
So, what else?
You've
do we
also
have?
had some good luck with your.
Ceramics.
You've also been participating lately in the Portsmouth Arts Guild.
I love it.
Weekly challenges that are one of the women there posts or has me post online a picture for people to use and as an inspiration, and it's really amazing to see the people's different reactions to the imagery.
It's exciting, and I always say what you told me, because I wasn't fussing, but they're from photographs.
Yes.
And I feel like I need to make it look just like the photograph, and you said that's why it's a challenge.
Well,
Because
you can
have
do
to
whatever you want.
So I've been playing with that.
You've seen that people literally play with it.
Yes,
too.
yes.
So we had a guy insert. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I have
But
that
we're
here.
running out
Yeah,
of time,
right,
so you can
okay.
just keep showing stuff. And
Well,
we
this
can-
I don't know the artist, but I loved the style.
Mhm.
So I played with it.
Okay.
It's pretty much a copy.
Yep. And you can grab some of your sketches too. This is the most recent stuff that you've done.
Well, this is one from the challenge, and it was just a black and white ink.
That was
Splotches of black
That
and
was
white.
a different challenge. That was actually
Oh,
one
it
of
was?
my drawings.
It was?
Don't
I
touch me.
love the, oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I thought it was from the challenge.
It was, but it was from the Annex
It
Art
was a
Society.
great, but I didn't know how to recreate it. So I added my
that's great.
color.
See, I'm honored by that.
But great painting.
We have time for a couple more, and then we're going to have to
Couple
say.
more. Well, this is one. I started picking flowers too to kind of get if I get stuck with what am I going to do with this white paper? I take little snapshots
A lot
with
of
my
people are intimidated by
phone,
that.
and it gives me a base to feel the lines, the movement in the plant.
So we've kind of reached the end of our road for now, and I appreciate you coming by and sharing this stuff with us.
Thanks for having
coming.
me.
You're most welcome. Thank you. Welcome to a new episode of Art Matters with Wayne Quackenbush. I'm Wayne Quackenbush, your host. We have our masks off and we're socially distanced, physically distanced. I'm here to introduce Krystal Sherman. She's new to Quidnick Island, but originally from Rhode Island, and she's a yoga instructor, Reiki master, artist, and she has a lot to talk about today about a project that she started last year during our shutdown here in Rhode Island during the pandemic. Krystal, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Wayne.
And you said you're originally from Rhode Island, but you had a unique circumstance where you were able to move to Newport.
Yes.
And you just got a new apartment, and you're set up here. And Tell us a little bit about your studies and practice.
Sure. So I've completed 200-hour training here actually on the island, my yoga training.
Okay.
And in the yoga training, I had influences in Kundalini, Baptiste yoga, Hatha yoga, and then I was trained in Reiki 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
During the training, and just recently I completed my master's and then my advanced master's in Reiki. So I am qualified to train others now in Reiki, which is a pretty cool gift and tool. Kind of use that healing energy and that gift of Reiki and yoga to let these paintings and pieces kind of manifest themselves.
Okay. And you can talk about the whole project, I guess you'd call it, because you started painting, but it wasn't in a traditional sense. You had guidance and a desire to kind of remove your cognitive senses. I don't know.
Yes, that's a beautiful way to say it, Wayne. I think that's beautiful, yeah. Yeah, and it's so funny how the pieces did come. So first the poems came, and there was a lot of, even during writing the poems, I did have to remove my ego, but the mind was active.
Paintings and poems that are kind of reactive to the painting.
Yeah.
And you're manifesting female bodies.
Yes.
And traditional poses for yoga. And incorporating the celestial.
Correct, yeah.
So if you want to hold up one of the paintings and talk about the whole thing, like hold it up literally.
Sure.
Like
so
that.
I picked this one right now to show because it reminds me of Mother Earth, and it is Earth Day.
Yes.
So I picked that one. I really like I like them all, to be honest. So, you know, I kind of asked my spirits to guide me to do this healing work. And they're kind of like goddess angel shapes. Little gifts of reminders. And you'll notice each of them have little halos around their heart, around the head. So those are energy fields of healing.
Now, you said specifically that everyone manifests that halo, but there's a specific...
So male and females have these halo energies around the head and their heart. And traditionally, if you look back in paintings, these halos will exist in lots of artwork.
Yes.
This was... And you'll notice too, women, so when you study energy work, women will absorb more in their heart halo area. So these ones are actually cleared out, so they're healed. They're on their healing journey.
You have to explain what clearing out means.
Yeah, so they kind of have put in the work, and they're embodying their journey and their stories to the fullest.
And
kind of these warrior angels in disguise. I kind of like to look at it.
Where did the imagery come from? Because that's unique to me.
Yeah, so I kind of asked my angels and guides to just, you know, come to the paper what they wanted to express about where I was in my healing journey. And I think I'd finally gotten to a point that I could get out of the way enough to let it just naturally flow through.
The way you described it is you had to remove your head in the process.
Yeah, I couldn't let my head get in the way. Yeah. And a big part of that process was the poem writing, so that came first. And even there I had to get the ego out of the way, but give my mind, because I kind of look at the mind as like a computer for my spirit, and the body is the vehicle, and then there's just consciousness here, and the consciousness is my spirit, and it's got angels and guides all around it, and when I listen to them, everything just flows and comes naturally. So this was a practice of letting my intuition guide me and not letting my ego get in the way.
And what prompted the whole thing to begin?
Yeah, so just where we are as, even as, one, as a nation, as a culture, as society, just where we are as humans in our healing process. And,
So these are signposts for a certain time?
I would say kind of, yeah, because even, I don't dive into politics that much. Stuff comes and filters through, so I don't actually watch anything. But I am aware that 108 years ago, women marched to the White House for women's rights.
Women's rights to vote.
Yeah, women's rights to vote. And 108 is a pretty sacred number, even in yoga traditions, in other spiritual traditions.
You also mentioned our new vice president.
Yeah, I was going to say, now look at where we are. We have a beautiful vice president, 108 years. And,
after that march.
Yeah, and so kind of, these are just reminders of where we are. So I just feel like as women and as a culture, we're all in this healing process together, not excluding men, but we are as females kind of embodying that healing energy for the collective right now.
Now you had an interesting story in how you incorporated the Me Too on piece and how you were kind of deciding against that, and then it became impossible to not.
Yeah, so it was kind of funny. So like I said, I'm not political, and I don't, I'm human, so there's politics involved in being human. So I don't like to get stuck in positions, but I do, like to see all sides. So I didn't want to get stuck too much in the position of Me Too, but I was kind of told, I definitely was told by my angels and spirits that this should be signed not by me, that it should be just signed Me Too to kind of include everybody.
Right.
And maybe not even as attached to the movement itself's definition, but just this more universal Me Too.
The universal connectivity, and we were talking briefly before, you were saying, or we were saying that it was going beyond the darkness that's manifested by what Me Too would mean, but it's also connecting and healing.
Inclusive, yeah.
Inclusive, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And I considered taking it off because I was feeling a little, my human form was feeling a little insecure.
So, Krystal, you want to take a minute and read one of your poems that's part of this series?
Sure, Wayne. So I picked this one out. Fire is the flower of man. Fire is the flower of man. Where there's fire, there is anger. Where there is anger, there is pain. Where there is pain, there is a human. Make space for your pain. Let go of your anger. Drop your stories of suffering. Open your human experience to the acceptance of pain. We cannot drop our pain without losing our human form. We can start a story of healing, understanding, and compassion when we choose to open our eyes to this realization. In this reality, you are a human, entangled in feelings of pain and love, anchoring you to this human reincarnation. You are not your feelings. Don't be blind to this moment, to this experience. Be comfortable in your discomforts. From here, start your story. Do things with love, not for love. I love you, pain.
Very good. So everything that you've shown us and said to us today is kind of a manifestation of healing and tied to a particular time. And you said that this is a project that had a beginning and an end, and you're waiting for the next inspiration.
Yeah.
But this was so apt for our year 2020.
Yeah. And ironically enough, we'll be in celebrating Mother's Day weekend while
Soon enough.
the artwork's displayed.
Right.
And we're having, Earth Day today, another celebration of Mother Earth, another female embodiment, form of spirit.
And what's the next step then?
Continuing my healing and development, and just learning that when I've let my intuition guide me, it's always a feel-good feeling at the end of it, and when I kind of try and get in the way of that natural flow, that's kind of when the pain and suffering surfaces, and it's time to go back to my practices, lean harder into my practices: yoga, Reiki, meditation, art.
And do you feel that everything is moving in the right direction?
Yeah, I'm on track right now.
Excellent.
I think we all are. I think we're all starting to be more aware of inclusive language and consideration and compassion as a society. I think, the more we experience stuff together, the better we come out on the other side.
Well, on that hopeful note, I'm going to thank you for taking the time out to talk with us today.
Yeah.
And good luck in the future.
Thank you, Wayne, for this opportunity.
Of course.